Oh yes, legends, how's everybody doing? Hope you're doing fantastic. It is time to check out the price of Bitcoin, see what is going on. Hope you're doing absolutely great, guys, today. Let's take a look here at the price of Bitcoin, see what is going on, legends. Much love to everybody. Let's analyze the situation here all together. Most importantly, on the lower time frame, what is forming here in this zone, in this range since Friday? Is it looking corrective? Do we get that push up to claim the highs here that we did form on Sunday night or Monday morning here at 72.2K? It's looking very choppy, very rangy. We'll be discussing, of course, the next possibilities. We did talk about yesterday where we were. Nothing very interesting. We did get that tap above the point of control here of this range. Value area high, ended up rejecting. We're still very, very rangy in this zone, so it's quite boring price action. And we could be forming a very, very complex range here. Okay, when you do realize where we at on the higher time frame, if this turns out to be a wave 4 formation, wave 4s can be very long, they can be very complex. You can turn into a, very, very sideways WXY structure. If this is a 1, 2, 3 and we are building up the fourth wave here, it could still be very, very rangy. Okay, and they do have great opportunities, I have to say. We do have some levels for opportunities, of course. A bit of boring price action in the last few days, just $2,000 up, $2,000 down. So really for only day traders and scalpers, right? We are interested in the bigger move, which naturally is going to happen, of course, in the next coming days. We'll be pointing that out, of course. On the lower time frames, what do we have? What are the most important levels? Where could we look for a long position or a short position intraday? And obviously swing longs are looking more attractive for me eventually, right? Swing shorts, that's already happened, right? We've got a major move down in the last few weeks. Swing shorts should have been taken here at the 90K to 100K zone, right? That's, to lose $80,000. Looking for swing shorts down here is not that attractive. Swing longs are looking more attractive for a bigger bounce, of course. So we need to discuss that. We need to talk about where are the opportunities for the swing longs, right? Is the low in already? And we already start bouncing aggressively, right, from $60,000. Can this be a wave 1 or a wave A? All of this is a complex range. We form a wave 2, and do we move up in a wave C or either wave 3, right? We're going to break down a little bit of the different scenarios, of course, to talk about the liquidity, because, there is lots of liquidity to the upside, but also we got several hundred million long liquidations, okay, sitting below the lows that we formed here on Saturday, okay, which is round about $67,200, right? Do we sweep up that liquidity first? It would be nice, right? It would be nice to sweep up the liquidity first if we are going to take out these local highs. Or do we take out the local highs first? We form a bit of a 3-wave move to the upside. All right. We'll talk about the bearish scenario, and then obviously, we look for the rollover back to the downside. I am mainly more interested in the price action to get out of this range. That is where the best trades are going to be, in my personal opinion, okay? Inside of the range, especially if you are in the middle of the range, you don't have much room to play around, of course, okay? So stepping out from this range is going to bring the opportunities. Now, let's go quickly through the comment section, say hello to the wonderful community, and see what's going on, of course, with the votes as well. What comes next, right, for Bitcoin? Bitcoin is ready to pump or to dump. We got over 100 votes at the moment with the poll here. 55%, slightly more, leaning to the pump, right? That Bitcoin's getting ready for a pump. Make sure to get your votes in here, legends. And we'll go through the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. Beth Maria Vallecos, how are you doing? Much love to you. BSH, hit the like button, guys. Much love to you. Lekid, Andy's the market maker. Far away from it, guys. Far away from it. But we can look to predict some movements, good levels of support and resistance, and, look for the different moves that could develop. And from all of those moves that could develop, there are hidden trading setups, right? And that's what we like to do here on the stream, right? We try and identify the different movements that could happen. And throughout those different movements, there are trading setups, of course, right? So we're going to break that down, of course, in today's stream. Much love, Andy. Reckon you could look at silver today. I actually have the silver chart open. Oh no, sorry, my bad. It's the S&P, but I was looking at silver, and we can talk about silver because I think silver is looking quite interesting. I think a bounce on silver to take out the lower highs right over here, which is sitting at $92 an ounce, is very much acceptable. We talked about silver a few days ago, last week, inside of the trading community, about, you know, something that looks very, very interesting. Even on the regular chart or the logarithmic chart, it's pretty interesting where we got rejected and where we are bouncing at the moment on silver. We'll break down Bitcoin right now, but as someone pointed out, silver here, this rejection is massive, okay? This rejection that we've had on silver is massive. I think silver could struggle to take out the highs again. This is classic euphoria stage, parabolic move. As soon as you get this degree of a rejection, naturally, you know, you could be looking at the high being hit already, okay? And silver gets into a major multi-monthly consolidation, bear market, if you wish. Usually when you go parabolic and you get this significant rejection, you either continue, you get the dead cat bounce naturally, and then you just go to lower prices throughout the next coming months, even few years in the case of silver on a higher time frame. Or at most, you take out the highs and you create some kind of a double top. That's when you get this kind of rejection. History has been proven this kind of a rejection in the case of silver, which has been massive, 50% almost of a rejection that we had a couple of weeks ago, right? When you have such a parabolic move, you can check any chart, any chart, when it goes parabolic and you have over a 20-30% correction, right, which is a nasty move down, it is very, very hard to get back to the highs, right? You can take a look at any chart that's had a significant correction once it's gone parabolic, right, for many months. Once you get that deep pullback, yeah, dead cat bounce is expected, even a double top. But to get back up to the highs, it struggles. And this is like 90% of the charts, right? There might be that scenario where you get the big rejection and it does end up climbing up. But most of the times it doesn't, right? When you just take a look at history of a parabolic move and you get a 20-30% pullback, it just, you know, it could very much be a top, okay? Silver going extremely parabolic, big rejection. So a dead cat bounce is very much expected when we do take a look at the major fib levels here. What is interesting on silver, somebody that pointed this out, you know, you do have the 1.618 to 2.618 extension, which is on the regular chart. Logarithmic actually is different, and it's very interesting what happened on the extensions on the logarithmic. Regular chart, the 2.618 extension from the previous top in 2011 to the low, we can see how it got rejected, and now we are bouncing at the 1.618 golden ratio here of the expansion, and that's the low $70 range. I'm actually long in this. We talked about getting a bounce here for the next coming weeks on silver inside of the trading community. I am long on silver actually at this low $70 range, which was provided inside of the trading community. Just looking for that swing. This is going to take many weeks naturally. Okay, it's not a scalp, but silver does look pretty damn good to get a dead cat bounce relief rally to above the last lower high, which is above $92. That's my main target zone here. We're just $10 away, so I do think that silver does have the chance to go all the way up there, as naturally the 1.618 golden ratio. All right, looking at the fib levels, this is magic, guys. When you enter in price discovery, you need to use Fibonacci expansions, extensions for major targets, because price discovery with a major rally, you know, the only levels that you have is using Fibonacci tools, literally, right? Which work very, very well. They do work very, very well, as you can see here. Rejection at the 2.618 using the regular chart. But when you flip to the logarithmic, this is what's interesting. Logarithmic is very much recommended when you do have very higher time frame, bigger moves, right? When you're looking at the higher time frame, it is recommended to use logarithmic. And when we get the Fibonacci from the all-time high of 2011, this is on silver at $50, down to the low, right? And we turn this into the Fibonacci log scale, all right? We literally, came up to the 1.618 extension here, as you can see, right? Let's fix that. Literally tapped into the 1.618 extension. That's taking Fibonacci from the highs to the bear market lows, 1.618 at $120. So, beautiful expansion right there at the 1.618. Okay, it is different on the regular chart. Regular chart is actually hit the 2.618, and now we're bouncing at the 1.618 at the $70. When you do zoom in on silver on the lower time frame, you can look at this as a potential 5-wave move to the downside, which naturally you would be looking for a possible bounce to claim those lower highs, a bit of an inverted head and shoulder, and then possibly form a lower high. So a rejection at this point could happen to back test that low. Something that could happen here. That I would only be interested in looking for long positions here on silver if it does retrace back down to this low over here as a back test. The most bearish case scenario on silver is that this on its own has been an impulse. This has been the retracement, and this on its own has also been an impulse, and you're forming a double 1-2 just to form a lower high here to break down in a third wave. A lot of mixed sentiment out there with silver and gold. Some people say that it's topped out, and some people are saying that it's just going to go up, right? A bigger dead cat bounce naturally after this big correction is very much expected here from the low $70 range. Okay, so anyway, that's a little bit of something that I wanted to point out on the higher time frame for silver. Guys, much love to everybody. By the way, it was mentioned inside of the community, we are putting in silver, the S&P 500, not only Bitcoin. Of course, Bitcoin is the crown crypto that we do analyze inside of the community, looking for it not only intraday setups, obviously swings, but also intraday setups. It is your chance right now to join, okay, the community. As mentioned down below, you have 2 months for free, guys. You need to send me the word access in the Telegram, and it's super simple. Sign up to an affiliate exchange, Bluffin, Velto. You got them down below. Send me that word, and we can get you those 2 months for free inside of the trading community, okay? Much love to everybody. Time to say hello. BTC is dumping here with New York Open. Not much, I have to say, not much on Bitcoin where we are at the moment, but we can get some stuff ready. We are dumping down with this bounce that we had. Little bounce here. We're moving to the downside, and I have to say, depending on the power here, the plan hasn't changed for me. All right, regarding long positions, don't want to long here speculating on a triangle, or there was a triangle potential in this zone. You don't want to trade that. You want to trade either the move out of the range, okay, and then obviously speculate on swing failure patterns or get exhaustion on the breakdown if it is with high volume. So let me just break down here the 15-minute time frame to explain a little bit of the plan that I have anyway. All right, first of all, of course, without talking about any plans and trading setups, right? I'm just a random guy on YouTube. This content is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. The information provided is not guaranteed to be accurate or complete. Always conduct your own research before making any financial decision, guys. Very important. Muy importante. So yeah, we are dumping at the moment. We got rejected at the value area high yesterday. We did speculate on, what if this is an impulsive move to the downside? If this is an impulsive move down from the rejection of the highs, you could speculate on a lower high on the bounce, right? Point of control, value area high, golden pocket, 7-8 Fibonacci. Stop loss at the high. If your first target is coming back down to the lows. I'm not sure if anybody, felt confident here, right? We did talk about this on stream. There's nothing really to do in this little area that we had here. I either preferred the movement down to SFP from this low, that didn't happen, or actually get a bigger bounce to the point of control value area high. And yeah, this could be an impulsive move down, without a doubt. This is what we were speculating on yesterday. Is the impulse finished? Do we form a flat and one more low? We're just going to have to see. If you do get that bounce, then naturally coming into the levels of resistance of the range, value area high, and point of control, if you do have a potential impulsive move down, you can speculate in a lower high here, right? So that was the main idea yesterday. We either come down and sweep the lows to finish the fifth wave. If this is a flat, I'm interested in the SFP. Kind of still interested in the SFP. We'll get to that right now. It depends on the breakdown from this point. But basically, based on yesterday, a bit of a boring range. We either sweep the lows of the range at 67.3. I would have said that this is an acceptable long position as a swing failure pattern. Just, kind of anticipating it could be a 5-wave move to the downside. And we like to get into the 5th wave as a reversal. That made sense based on the information that we had. We got new information here today. So just going through what we was talked about yesterday. Or get the bounce to the point of control, value area high of this region, golden pocket zone, right? Which is literally where we got to. And this is where we rejected to come down and test the lows, which is naturally your first target, right? If you have an impulsive move to the downside, we get the bounce, point of control, golden pocket. Stop loss at the high in this case. The risk to reward is not massive. It's a 1.5, 2 to 1 risk to reward. It could be more. So you want to take most of the profits here at the lows, but, naturally hold some, right? Hold some just in case this ends up breaking down in a wave 3, right? You've got 1, 2, multiple 1, 2s here, 3, right? You can form your 4 and 5, little bounce, another 5th wave. It actually gets pretty aggressive. But yeah, if we talk about a new entry point, if you did not get into us, we talk about this every day. There's two, when we're talking about a day trade or a swing trade for the next coming days to develop, there's 2 ways to get in. There's literally only 2 ways to get in. You either get into the swing failure pattern of a major pivot, regardless if it's a high or if it's a point of control or if it's the top of an order block, or, depending on, many of these levels, naked point of control, daily, whatever, swing failure patterns of a major pivot high. If you want to catch the high, you're looking for a rejection at a major confluence zone. In this case, you tap the Saturday, Friday highs, and that's your entry with a stop loss at the high. If you did not get into the swing failure pattern in this case, well, you wait for a potential impulsive move to the downside. As we were explaining yesterday, you know what? This might form a lower high because we do have the potential of an impulse. This has a possibility of being a 3-wave structure. Might be the end of an ABC, right? A little bit, confusing here, because the range could develop in multiple different waves, as we could be in a higher time frame wave 4. And the problem with wave 4s, they could extend and form a complex WXY, and that not many people understand, but it is what it is, which is just very rangy and very, very complex. But going with the simple terms, you've got a possible 3-wave structure to the upside here. If you don't catch the top of the possible C wave in a swing failure pattern, or you have other levels here, there was a naked point of control at 73 point, I don't know where it is right now, 73.4K basically. You either SFP or you wait for that naked point of control at 73.5K almost. If you don't catch that level, then, we are speculators here. I missed that short. Well, you wait for the potential 5-wave structure down and the bounce, preferably in between 50% to the 7/8 Fibonacci, golden pocket being the most important one, naturally the most respected one. And what you're speculating here is getting into the wave 2 or the wave B to come and test the lows. So you either you either get into the swing failure pattern. If you don't, you need to confirm that this could be an impulse, and you're looking for the lower high. if you want a bit of extra confluence to speculate on a lower high here, regardless if it's a B or a wave 2, to take out this low in either a wave C or a wave 3, you don't know if the breakdown is going to be successful. If you want to add a little bit of confluence, then you've got the value area high point of control zone, right, of the range that we formed in the last few days. So yeah, I mean, anyway, let's go through what we're looking for today. We do have many scenarios, unfortunately, here. As explained, there's no rush. I mean, I would be happy to attempt the swing failure pattern right from the range lows. If this range low does not swing failure pattern and it just breaks down, you know, there's a very interesting area right over here. There's a high volume node, and on slightly higher time frames, we do have Tradingview. I don't know what is happening here, but it's not playing ball. The drawing sticks when I flip the chart for some reason. Anyway, that's that. It's lagging a little bit. Yeah, we got a nice high volume node here. So if we don't swing failure pattern from this low, yeah, I'm looking for the breakdown and then proof of support into this area. This area does have a, you know, a high volume node, was a little staircase to the upside that is coming at 65.7. I mean, there is a higher volume node, 65k region literally. And if we do go up, yeah, I mean, there's very likely an order block here, kind of an order block zone here. As you can see, this is on the 3-hour time frame. So it is an interesting area to actually get some support. I want to see the price flip-flopping here, right? You know, the first move down, if it V-shapes, if it suddenly gets a dump and pump, you know, it is what it is. V-shapes, you know, just not very, they're very difficult to catch, right? You're literally trying to catch the low, right? So there is a high volume node in this region, and you got that that order block as well. It's just a nice zone, and there is that speculation naturally that we could form still an ABC flat here. It's still very possible. That ABC flat here would preferably be a contracting diagonal. So the C wave, a contracting diagonal fits in nice. We're going to go through the lower time frames right now here, but I would be happy to attempt an SFP. If it doesn't SFP, then, you know, I would be looking for the exhaustion here and a little bit of, you know, rangy price action. It's all about being patient, right? If you want to try and catch and just get into limit longs or whatever, you just need to realize the danger. What if we break down, right? Getting proof of support is proof that it is holding, and it could actually reverse, right? So at the end of the day, trading is a patience game. It is really a patience game. I know we all want to get into trades right now, you know, regarding the bigger move, but you know, we want to get into the, you know, high probability setup. So when we do take into consideration very rangy structure still here for the moment, you know, I would be happy for a scalp entry here on an SFP from this low. Okay, just as a scalp and be very defensive. One scenario here is this can be counted as an impulse. You got this potentially being a wave 1 or a wave 8. Okay, then you have the zigzag to the downside, a 3-wave move, also very countable here. And then you have this move to the downside at the moment, right? So this could be internal A wave. Okay, this could be a B wave right over here. And this right over here could be the formation of a contracting diagonal, right? That ends up sweeping up the low. And you know, naturally here you would have an ending diagonal for a flat. I have to say, you know, this is going to take many hours to develop. You need that 4th wave bounce, okay, throughout the next coming hours, and then the movement down. And this movement down, could form that swing failure pattern from the lows. What is very important here about this ABC flat, naturally, what we would be looking at is to take out the highs in the next coming days at 72.2K. So, I mean, there is a setup here that is brewing. It is brewing. There is a scenario here when we consider, this is one of them, guys. But I, just want you to actually realize what we could be looking for, right? This is the beauty about technical analysis and basically applying Elliott wave theory, that you can map out 4 or 5 scenarios, and depending on the next movements, right, you can anticipate the next higher probability move. So this is a very choppy, overlappy range, and the scenarios are a lot. Okay, unfortunately, we don't have some, this is what you get inside of a wave, potential wave 4, if it is going to form a wave 4, of course. Wave 4s can be, if this was a wave 4, this was a very, very complex range, right? Some people were calling about a bear flag here. We break down to the lows already. This extended, of course. Wave 4s like to be long. They like to be complex. They could form a WXY inside of the X wave. You already have an internal WXY, so it even complicates more things here inside of the waves. And the problem is about a wave 4, right, is that it can be very long and very complex. When you do zoom in into this range, you have the movement down from 98K, the little range right there, wave 1, wave 2 potential, wave 3 high volume. This could be a wave 4, and it just chops down and up till you actually get tired, right? And this is what could develop here, unfortunately. And you could have all sorts. We're going to break down many of the scenarios just like the one I explained. So the one that I explained here, which is forming an ABC flat, where you are finishing here in a contracting diagonal, right? You would be looking at, something like this. Of course, you could still form this, this could still be forming another low. This is going to take a little bit of time. But naturally, you would look at this as a wave A or a wave 1, right? When you're considering taking out this high. You form that flat right over here, 3 wave down, 3 wave up, and here you're finishing in a ending diagonal that could take in between today and tomorrow. You want one more bounce. It doesn't matter here exactly where the low is. This could still bounce, move another low here, get the bounce right there, and then take out this low, which looks interesting. If we get that bounce in the next coming hours, and it's a very poor bounce, right? It literally looks like it's going to roll over. This leg to the downside is the one that I am interested in looking for, either a swing failure pattern. And what is important about this diagonal, for that flat structure, remember we're labeling this as your A wave, this as your B wave, and this as your C wave. C waves needs a 5 wave structure. In this case, it would be an ending diagonal, right? Potential, we don't know. But, if we bounce here poorly and, get a little bit of a rollover, then naturally what we would be speculating on is in the 5th wave of the C wave, of the ending diagonal, of the flat, just to get a move up, right? At the end of the day, we're looking for that 3 wave move, right? We're looking for the 3 wave move, and we want to be participating in the 3rd wave. Right, there's the better wave to get into, obviously, right? So, that said, for this scenario, it requires a little bit of more time. Get a choppy bounce, form a lower high, take out the low of the range. Aggressive entry, when we consider this scenario as an ABC flat ending diagonal in the C wave, what you need to take into consideration is the invalidation of the 5th wave. Now, the 5th wave, which is this one right over here, it cannot be longer than the 3rd wave. So you need to take a measured move with the Fibonacci extension from the highs to the lows to the next lower high, and realize that you cannot hit the 1-to-1 extension that is sitting at 65.2K almost. That is your invalidation, literally. Now, what you need here is that bounce. You need a choppy bounce that could take a few hours. So then you have a potential new wave developed here. All right. No bounce, no nothing that happens here is enough, right? And this needs to develop with a few hours and then form the next low. If you want to take this as a ending diagonal in a wave C in this ABC flat to potentially form a wave 1 or a wave A, and then this being a wave 2 or a wave B to take this move to the upside to take out 72.3k. Considering this pattern, look no further. I mean, you got the extremely great entry, which is an SFP. You might just wick the low here from Saturday's lows at 67.3k. It might just turn into wick. You got your entry point right there. Stop loss at the low of the wick. As you do get that swing failure pattern, you're targeting the highs. Then there's the more chilled kind of setup. As soon as you take out the lows, you know, your invalidation for this scenario is taking out the, you know, basically the length of the third wave, because inside of a ending diagonal, your wave 5 cannot be longer than your wave 3. So if you're really kind of speculating on this just to sweep up the lows of the range to form this ABC flat and then take out the highs, you know, your stop loss is the length of your third wave, right? Because wave 5 cannot exceed, right, to that level. It's a good projection. I mean, the risk reward can be a 2.5 to 3 to 1, right? 3 to 1 risk reward. You know, naturally you would expect a little bit of a breakout here to the upside if we are looking for this 3-wave move. So that's a possibility, okay? We talk about possibilities and different scenarios. For this scenario, it requires a little bit of patience. You need a lower high here, okay, on this bounce, and it needs to take a few hours, give or take 3-4 hours here, where it bounces and it's very poor, and then it just ends up getting exhausted and you roll over. Then you have your wave 4 being in here potentially. Then you can speculate on a contracting diagonal. Once you have a lower high and the price moves down, bingo, you have the potential of an ending diagonal here. And this is literally the levels that cannot be touched, depending on the third wave where it finishes, of course. It's literally your invalidation, right? The length of your wave 3. Aggressive traders would take an SFP. More chilled traders would just long, and you know, stop loss is the length of the third wave that cannot be touched. And you know, your target zone is taking out the highs, because you know, if this is a 3-wave move that we're looking for, you know, naturally in a zigzag, which is the most common, you know, corrective bounce, or maybe it's a 3rd wave and we pop out, that would be nice. That would be nice, actually. One scenario that we could have in the next 1 to 2 days, give or take, right? We'll be following up with a magnifying glass inside of the trading community the next highest probability move. I can tell you that. Okay, the latest move that we were speculating on inside of the community, you know, naturally was on, you know, on Monday, which we were talking about already anticipating the potential flat. Now the flat could be an impulsive move down to take out the lows. It could be a running flat. We were speculating on the potential of a running flat yesterday. It could be a ending diagonal. But this zone was already looking good for a short position that we mentioned inside of the trading community. We provide the lower time frame updates, the different scenarios. I know some people did short this swing failure pattern inside of the community by, you know, taking out the highs and getting the rejection, speculating on the move down here to get to the low 68, 67k region, lows of the range basically. So it's still soon. It's still soon for the long, in my opinion. This range can be complex. There is the bearish case scenario naturally, which is an ABC, and this is a 1-2, 1-2. Right? It might fall down here with high volume. But, you know, there are some moves that we can get ready for. And this is one of them, okay? This is one of them. What does this require? It requires this bounce to fail. It could go slightly higher as long as you can form the diagonal here, right? You need to channel the wave 1 and the wave 3, right? And then the wave 2, right? Which is this would be the wave 1 to potential 3. We've claimed another low here. Then if this gets the bounce, yeah, it could bounce. You know, it could bounce all the way up to 69.8, you know, 70k even. It would still be a diagonal as long as you don't get up to the trend line on the channel, right? The top of the trend line. Then it's not a diagonal. So this is going to take a bit. It is going to take a bit. It is going to take a bit. But naturally what you want to see is that bounce. You form a lower high, bang, you create that low. You know, this is becoming interesting. Swing failure pattern from this higher low of the range. When you get all of this Elliott wave noise out of the way, you know, you could just say it's a swing failure pattern from the lows. You know, why so many, you know, swing failure pattern from the highs? Why so much Elliott wave theory? Well, I mean, that naturally gives you that edge of you know, are the probabilities there? And obviously, you know, when you combine Elliott wave theory with a swing failure pattern level, you know, the probabilities are there for a flat ending diagonal. This still needs some information. You need that lower high and then another new low, right? You just combine the confluence to see if the probabilities are on your side, right? Not every high or every low is a good swing failure pattern. So, yeah, that's one scenario, of course, right? We're going to build up the rest of the scenarios as we speak. Unfortunately, there is many, guys, I have to say. And wave 4s, there is many scenarios here, unfortunately, okay? But you bear with me because, you know, we'll point out, what if we pump from here? What if, you know, that was the low and we pump from here, right? And take out the highs. Well, you know, there is another trade around the corner as well later on, depending on how we move here, which we are going to build up. I just want you to visualize first explanation of one of the scenarios that was given, right? And then we'll get to the next ones. That it's a trading plan. This is what we do. We create plans. We remain patient. If you want to get into a quick long or a quick short, you know, this is not the channel, right? We do create professional plans. We are remaining patient and we look for the highest probability trade setups. So yeah, bear with me. We're just going to go quickly through the comment section because I do talk a lot and try and explain the scenarios here, and the comment section I kind of forget. Yes, my man, are you off out? Just, you know what, I felt like putting a shirt on today. I did go out for a bit and felt like putting a shirt on, right? Not that I'm a guy that, or you know, usually dresses up. Sometimes I like to do so though. Much love. Thank you very much for the kind comment. Any news for the coming any news for coming down? Right. Any news? We do have, well, based on this move, because we're coming down. I mean, this is nothing move. This is a nothing move, right? Do we have any major news events? Jobs opening today, and we don't have the time. Tomorrow we have PMI at 7 p.m. That is UAE time. And then on Friday is an interesting day. We've got consumer sentiment, non-farm payrolls, and unemployment rate. We don't have the time for that. But Fridays we could see some volatility before Friday close. And we just need to understand where we are on the charts, okay, for the next possible moves. Anyway, much love to everybody, okay? I like to go through the comment section, but I feel like it's going to break. Later, we'll do a lot of comment section, guys, okay? So you can battle in between yourself here with a bullish, bearish case. I will read through, okay? We've reclaimed the 68.3 wick low. Go long SFP, 68.3K wick low. It is aggressive, but yeah, you know, it is aggressive. It is aggressive in my opinion, but you should have entered on the, you know, more at the lows here. It did form a little bit of a swing failure pattern. If you're looking to enter right over here, you know, usually when you swing failure pattern, you want to get in at the lowest possible, right? As soon as you reclaim that low, you want to jump in. You know, if you're jumping in now, then, you know, the difference is this one, right? You know, maybe you're speculating in this range, which could extend. I would like the price to come up to the highs of the range, but the difference about this swing failure pattern and obviously this one, you know, is the entry, right? Potentially that message was from a few minutes ago, but yeah, that's literally the difference right over here. From this one, right? Your stop loss is much smaller. I wouldn't long if you didn't catch the low after reclaiming it. But yeah, we are here to talk about the potential bigger moves that could happen right throughout the next coming days. Is it possible that we, you know, form a low here and we come up to all the way up to the highs? Well, naturally, yeah, there could be a possibility of that happening. What other patterns do we have? In this case, what is a little bit tricky about this movement, and I'll go through the comment section later on, okay, guys? Much love to everybody. Let's smash up that like button. Let's do a little light recount here. If you do enjoy the content and the education and the possible scenarios, smash it up, guys. Much appreciated. Okay, and I will go through the comment section later on. Good afternoon, charters. Patience is a nice virtue. Much love, Rudy, to you, my man. Thank you very much. I did enter at 68k. a little bit of a catching the low. Catching the low, right? I did enter at 68k. Somebody here. Be cautious, guys. I'm not sure if we had a major level. There might have been a little point of control from this zone. Yeah, there was a high volume node from this consolidation. We can say that. Literally at 68k. So maybe, you know, it depends on your strategy here, but there's a nice little consolidation that we had here on Saturday. You know, if you wanted, you know, you treat that as a reactionary zone on the lower time frame, right? For any scalps, if you want to get this little bounce of $1,000, it's aggressive, right? Stop loss is literally beneath, right, the point of control of this range. You know, if you ask me, you know, it is an aggressive long. It is valid. There is some support. Somebody saying here that he catched 68k. So yeah, I mean, you got that little consolidation high volume node right there. I would say it's valid based on confluence. I'm not sure if you were looking at that, but that's what I would have looked at to take that long position for a little scalp, right? You know, I'm very, you know, there could be a lot of noise here still, right? This is very, very noisy, very, very noisy, and it could convert into a complex, large WXY. This is why we're talking about, or an ABC. This is why we talk about the flat here, right? And then this moves up. You know, there's many, many different combinations that I will break down right now, okay, in the next coming minutes. Much love to everybody. Thanks for smashing the like button. Let's go straight to the point here, right? I don't want to waste your time. Wave 5 incoming. Andy, don't be silly. Wait, don't be silly. Wave 5 to the downside, right? This one over here, right? This one right over here. Wave 5 to the downside. You know, the problem is here, I take so many things into consideration. I assume somebody here in the comment section saying, don't be silly, Andy, wave 5 is coming now. Great comment, by the way. We try not to be silly, right? We try and be as professional as it gets. I assume you're saying this wave 5, right? Wave 5 is coming, right? If you tell me wave 5 is coming, I instantly think about this one, looking at the 4-hour time frame. You know, there's one problem here, and you know, it is a significant problem, and that is time. That is time, of course, and time is important. It's not the best, you know, the ultimate thing that you need to take a look at, but the timing is actually important when you consider the probabilities. And it is low probability after a wave, if we are considering this is the longest consolidation right there that we had after this move down, right? Where does the next move down start? It starts from here. This is a very aggressive move to the downside. If we do consider this the wave 3, the timing of the wave 3, then this high that was created on Sunday at 72.2k was made before the 382 Fibonacci. That is very, very shallow in time bounce for a wave 4. Wave 4s are usually longer. They are usually longer. When you do take a look at Fibonacci time from the wave 2, right, when we are looking at this as a possible running flat, then if we do get the length of the wave 2 to the end, right, of the wave 3, and we look at, you know, you want to usually wave 4, sorry, my bad, are longer than your wave 2. Usually, right? They are usually, not always, but they are usually, if we're looking at probabilities, if it's usually longer than a wave 4, a wave 4 is longer than a wave 2, and you usually cross the 382 Fibonacci from your previous impulse, in this case your wave 3, we did not cross 382. This is very shallow. Your 1-to-1 is right over here, which would be Friday. You know, it's a shallow wave 4 to roll over already in a wave 5, and this does not usually happen. And as traders, we like to trade what usually happens, right? Not what usually doesn't happen, right? So the timing, you know, you take it into consideration and you realize, you know what, maybe this is not the high. This is not an ABC, and this is not multiple 1-2s. We're going to break down in a, you know, in an impulse, right? Third wave is like bubbling up here for the next couple of days. When you consider timing, you know, it's very important, because with that same reason, when we do zoom out, guys, and we go with the speculation that there was throughout the dump from all-time high, bear with me here, guys, because you might get a little bit of education right there. What if there's so many people bearish with this bounce? Got a lot of bear flag mate comments here. Bear flag mate comments here. You know, we were speculating on many different things, you know, even taking out the high and understanding that wave 4s can be longer. You know, this if we are considering this as a wave 4, you know, this did extend significantly. I mean, this high already did form. Okay, this could have been the high without a doubt, but it did happen. It did happen after the 382 Fibonacci time, when we look at this as a potential wave 2 right there. So, you know, in this case right over here, this is shallow in time. This was just a dead cat bounce. Naturally, we could take out the range lows below 67.2k and find support at 66, 65. We don't know. We're going to have to eye if we do SFP or not from the range lows, and then form a high here, and then get to 73, 75, and then maybe roll over. Because based on the timing and based on understanding that, you know, after a big move down, you always want to label it with priority as a wave 3. The biggest move down from 90k last week, right, was this one. So we look at what usually happens, right? The most common thing. And of course, this wave 4 is would be shallow in time. If you know, it can take out the lows. Time is just something to help with probabilities. It just doesn't mean that, oh, because we didn't cross the 382 Fibonacci time, you know, it's impossible. No, of course it's not. But you know, it's a probability game. So when we consider that wave 4s are usually longer than your wave 2s, and you know, we haven't even crossed the 382 Fibonacci time from the wave 3. In this case, you did right over here, but in this case, you did not. So it's a very, very shallow bounce compared to the aggressive move down that we had. Okay, so just something to point out, right? Somebody said, don't be silly. You know, I take many things into consideration, and I know the probability side of things. So, but anyway, epic comment. Much love to you. I can't remember who that was. Anyway, the 382 is a minimum time requirement for wave 4, Andy. Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, there we go. I'm literally saying what it is. Thanks for the confirmation. This is what we are. It's a minimum requirement, but I've seen waves not cross the 382. It is what it is, but most of the time they do cross the 382 time. Most of the times, right? And as you do consider most of the times, then you know it's still, if we believe that this is going to be a wave 4, this high created on Sunday or Monday is very, very shallow in time. Very, very shallow in time for this already to roll over and take out the low. It does make sense to see a bit more of a higher time frame zigzag, right? We like to see the symmetry of the waves. 3-wave move. This is very one wavy. It's very fast in time. So the symmetry of forming a 3-waver here makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Doesn't need to be like that. And this is where you think, well, hang on a minute. Where would be the best level to long? As explained throughout 30 minutes, and I'm really rolling here. I'm like, really, there's a lot of. But anyways, this comes with education as well, right? I get questions seen on the comment section, and I need to answer them. That comes with the idea of maybe an ending diagonal here could be on the formation to form an ABC flat. Right, that maybe that 5th wave does end up taking out the low. I am interested in this swing failure pattern. It just looks good. Wave 1 or wave A, ABC flat, ending diagonal, and then we get the rally up here. I think a lot of people, let me take a look at the votes here. What is bubbling up here for Bitcoin? Is it a dump or is it a pump? We got over 400 votes. Get your votes in here, legends. Bitcoin is ready to pump. It's a 50-50. 50% are saying pump, 50% are saying dump. Man, it's pretty insane. We don't get a favorite scenario a lot of times, just slightly. We don't usually get a 70% vote on something, guys. It's usually a 50, 55 to 45. Pretty equal. Look at this. Over 400 votes. It's a 50-50. Bitcoin is ready to pump or dump. Interesting. Or wave 4 with the 10k pump is allowed if wave 2 is longer. It's allowed to do so, Andy. Actually, your wave 1 is wrong. Move your wave 1 over to the right. Why would it be wrong? I mean, which one? This is not wrong. Which one do you mean? Are you talking about this one or talking about this one? There's no wrong here with this wave 1. Could be different, but it's not wrong. I think we're going to arrange that big daily candle from Thursday for a while. Yeah. Bear market confusion. You guys are legends. These comments are absolutely epic. Let's go right away through the local scenarios here. Different waves and different possibilities that could be on the formation. Here is, we do have many. I do like the idea. That this is likely a correction from this downtrend, okay? I am not in favor of the idea that this is a wave 1. This is a wave 2. This would be shallow, by the way, because you didn't even hit the 382 Fibonacci, okay? I mean, if you're considering the wick high, yeah, not even with that low. So 382 not hit, and this is extremely common to be hit after a major wave on a retracement from this low to this high, the 382 Fibonacci was not hit. When you take this high, also was not hit. And it is hit over 75% of the times once you finish an impulse. So the fact that you're looking for a rally from here to break out very successfully, especially in a wave 2, you're looking for a wave 2 here with whatever combination it is, we can talk about that now in the next couple of minutes. We did not even hit the 382, which is very, very rare if you're looking for a third wave. It can be okay, acceptable for a B wave more than a wave 2, but still B waves do at least get to the 382 most of the times, right? So yeah, the fact that we, if you're looking for a bounce here to go all the way up here, right? If you are feeling bullish based on the votes, 382 was not hit after this bounce that we got here. So that is disturbing. That means that the probabilities are actually lower, based on whatever's forming here, to get a successful breakout in a wave 3, right? A wave C can be, this has a higher probability to be a B wave. That B waves do not hit the 382 Fibonacci more commonly than a wave 2. So when we do look at the bounce, if we are speculating in an A, B, C, right? I am interested actually in shorting, okay? I am actually interested in shorting once we get above this high. Of course, what are the levels? What are the zones of resistance that are looking interesting? When we do go here, I've explained a little bit of the lows that I would like to see claimed. For the upside, it is either an SFP from this low. Remember, if you lose the level, there is no long trade setup. This is still very valid. Very, very valid setup. And that's with a speculation of a flat, of course. You would want to see one more low, right? Ending diagonal here. Very much possible. If the price breaks down, then you would want to see proof of support here at this order block. You also have a high volume node around about the 65k region. There's no fast long position, I have to say. A little bit of a slowdown in this region for the reversal, followed with bullish CVD divergence, can help in saying, right, we're bottoming out here. There's been some absorption. We were looking for the long position, but this is a slow trade. You require patience here. For the short position, I would be more than happy to look to spit out from the range highs. Spitting out of the range highs, when we compare this movement, usually, right, you want to compare the third wave, which would be a potential C wave in this case. You want to compare it with this one in time, right? They're usually very, very similar in time. I think, it would be relatively fast. This could be today. It could finish in between today and tomorrow if we do get that pump here to get above these highs. Most importantly, right over here, I can see that we do have that order block right over here in this zone. Any other major levels that we would have here, also a naked point of control at 73.5k, which is from this region. That's kind of in the middle of this order block that we do have. And if it does push above this zone, yeah, I mean, literally this was a significant range that we formed last week. You got literally value area low, a resistance support flip right there in this region. I mean, this is the most interesting area to start, thinking about short positions. I can explain right away what I would want to see, which the explanation was similar to the one on Friday. We talked about what we need to see here for the rejection. It was a little bit of exhaustion after the high volume coming in. We got exhausted here. and a few hours on Friday happened, that's when you want to go short, right, for this move. As explained, we could be very rangy here still. So you take them more as intraday setups. But three waver, absolutely. Why not? When we consider the higher time frame, this is actually the zone of interest I would have for the short. For the longs, I would like to see the sweep of the lows for either an SFP, or if you break down proof of support at this order block in the high volume node that we have at 65k region. Could it be a higher low? That's what we're going to speculate. If you do have bullish CVD divergence, we're going to have to see, right? You need that proof of support. If it breaks up, taking out, cleaning up the chart here a little bit, as explained, the potential of a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I got someone here saying your wave 1 is wrong. There's many ways. You can take this as a wave 1 and another wave 1 and 2, right? And that's 3, 4, and 5 here. High volume, it doesn't really matter. This is your main general stop right there. When we consider this movement, yeah, 3-wave move up here. What is interesting is from this pivot high to the pivot low, the 382 has already got rejected in the last few days. Bear with me here, guys, because this is how the price action moves. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. It's just, I'm just a messenger, right? As explained, this high was created before the 382 Fibonacci timing from your wave 3, right? If you're looking at this being the big move down as your wave 3, this high was created before the 382. That's shallow. Some people, someone was saying here that we're gonna, don't be silly, we're gonna form the wave 5. Well, what if we take the highs? What are you gonna say then, right? I'll say, well, we created this high before the 382, so it made sense that it could form a 3-wave structure to the upside to tackle 73, maybe 74k, right? It's just how the price moves. So I would be saying, it's normal. It would be a normal thing to happen. Why? Because this high was created before the 382, and it's actually shorter than the wave 2 here. Wave 4s are usually longer. So, you just fit in the puzzle and you're like, well, it would be natural to actually create another high here. And I'm looking for a 3-wave move, right? We're looking for a 3-wave move. In this case, you could label a running flat. We mentioned this, a couple of weeks ago. This was the zone to ultimately short like crazy to take out 80k. We were screaming about this. The price action already developed in some way. 3-wave structure up, the impulse down. Guys, we're looking for a goddamn correction here. We're likely going to break down in a wave 3 or a wave C, in a third wave to take out this low. We're just ready for whatever happens here. What type of correction is going to happen? That was the big move. I hope that a lot of people did manage to profit from this move. You got the high catchers at 97k. And then you have the other people that didn't manage to catch the high, and they need to get in here in this zone, right, to take out 80k. Going back to this is, the possibility. I'm interested in detecting that third wave. If I'm not participating in the third wave, but I zoom out and I understand that this could still be a wave 4, 50% Fibonacci for a wave 4. Yeah, this is like a normal target for a wave 4. That is coming in at 75.2k. Value area low of this region, right? That is if you pop above the order block here. The 50% Fibonacci is coming in at a major support level that we did have last week, right? At 75k. 75k was a major zone. We did get several bounces here last week. Not 1, not 2, but 3 reactionary bounces. So yeah, 50% Fibonacci from that lower high to the low. 3-wave potential, I have to say, we'll talk about how we can detect this. And the timing can be similar from this movement to the upside. The timing, I mean, it could be relatively fast and pretty punchy. But this would be the zone of interest to consider that short trade. And we'll go through the lower time frame to see how this could develop and what we need to see to get into that short, right? Because then overall, you finish a 5-wave move to the upside here, you get rejected, and we end up coming back down to 60K, right, by next week. So we'll talk about what I need to see here. It's a big level of resistance. Value area low. It's a support resistance flip territory. It's the 50% Fibonacci from the speculative wave 3 here. You're moving up in a 3-wave structure. Look no further, right? ABC, everything's aligning here. That this could be the zone of rejection, and that is if the price stretches up. Something curious about an impulsive move to the downside is the channeling from your wave 1 high to the end of your wave 2, to the end of the wave 1 right over there. And what is common is for your wave 4 to get rejected and at the lower half of the channel. You get your wave 1, your wave 2, your wave 3 spits out from the channel, and your wave 4 gets to the lower half of the channel, which usually where it gets rejected. So you kind of, when you're combining a lot of the different things here, I can give you a quick example on this, right? Anybody that's not aware about this channeling formation, we can go to an impulsive move that we had here when we got and peaked out at 98K, right? So if we do get the channeling from here, when we consider this movement, we're talking about this being a 3-wave down, 3-wave up, and a flat. Very complex WXY right over here. And your impulsive move starting from this pivot. Very complex range. Probably, yeah, if we had a better low here to get the impulse. But, what we're looking at here is potentially this being a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, if you had a double 1, 2, there was many ways here. Do we get another 4, 5? Right, we were speculating on one more high maybe, or maybe the high is in. But when you connect the channel from this being the way 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right, you can see that 5-wave move. That the main reason it's from this low. I don't want any silly questions here. The low is here. It was a complex 3-wave down, 3-wave up, and a flat here. Complex WXY, and the impulsive move doesn't start from here. They formed a 3-wave here, then you got this massive range and an impulse, and then take out the lows, right? The impulse starts from here. There's no discussion about it. When you get the channeling from this, right, just for an example, just for education, okay, just for education, the 5-wave move to the upside, you can see when you channel your wave 1 and your wave 2, your wave 3 spits out of the top of the channel, and the wave 4 gets supported from the top half of the channel to then create one more high, spit out again. When we do take a look at that channel formation here, when we are speculating on this scenario of potentially being the wave 4, well, we create that same base channel from your wave 1 and your wave 2, right? Where, your wave 3 spits out of the channel, and the lower half of the channel in this case would be the zone to get rejected. If we hit it, we are looking for a corrective 3-wave move to the upside. You got lots of support that will be flipping as resistance, value area low, and you have the 50% Fibonacci retracement, which is actually, a target zone. 382 was already struggling in the last few days. You could see the 382 Fibonacci was actually getting that resistance in the last few days right over there. But is it shallow? If we don't roll down from here, we create one move to the upside. I would say, you know what? it would actually be okay. It's something natural, because this high that was formed on Sunday was formed too soon. And the symmetry is important. Symmetry is important when we consider the waves. So 3-wave move up, value area low of this consolidation, support resistance flip, 50% Fibonacci, and hitting the base channel. I would say, yeah, it's going to be looking interesting for the short. I can tell you that. So what we need to see up there, right? How do we execute that trade? And you know, if you want something simple and you want to see, you know, where's your stop loss, then your invalidation is 78.8K. That's like your hard invalidation. If you don't want to look at the 15-minute time frame, which I will with the community, also followed with Devils, of course. We follow this every single day. We follow the internal movements like crazy. I actually jump in a call with Devil. We analyze together, then we provide it to the trading community, of course, and we get ready for internal setups. Okay, it takes time sometimes, but we talk about the scenarios and what could be the next move. If you are interested in that, where we go internally on the possible movements, the trading community is for you. Not only setups, it's education, it's looking at the possible scenarios, video updates, live streams, altcoins. We talk about silver, why silver could bounce at low $70 range. It's your chance right now to jump in, okay, for 2 months for free. It is literally free. You just need to sign up and do a minimum deposit in one of the affiliate exchanges. It's for your own trading anyway. So send me a DM with the word access, and it's super simple. You need to stop wasting time, guys. You need to sign up with one of the affiliate exchanges, do a minimum deposit for your own trading. I get DMs of people just, sending the DM and then, disappearing out of the face of the earth. It's like, do you want in or not? Stop wasting. I don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste mine. To access, it's sign up and deposit one of the affiliate links. It's for your own trading. So it is for free because you trade with that money. Anyway, just have to say it, guys. It pisses me off soon as some people just messaging randomly and disappearing. Sign up with one of the affiliate links, minimum deposit for your own trading. We'll jump you inside of the trading community. Anyway, CBM here, chop it is. Much love to you, brother. Thank you very much for joining the stream. Go and check out CBM. He's an awesome guy. Yes, I will. I will come very, very soon. All right. Much love to you. We'll go. Let me just finish off here with this. We might not reach this, but if we do, this is the thing about trading and technical analysis. If we do get that movement to the upside, I gave you that explanation, of course, right, from that range that we formed, that bounce that we got here, this one right over here. Similar scenario, right, for one more high. Similar scenario here for one more low. I do not know if we're going to get up there, but if we do, everything connects very, very, very nicely. Everything connects very, very nicely to actually get rejected here. We're looking for a 3-waver, regardless of flat or a zigzag. If we come up here to this 75K region, solid level that got massive support here before losing it. Base channel, everything points out that, I would be interested in speculating on the top of a ABC potential. So if I go through the lower time frame, let's get all of this out of the way, and we go through the lower time frame here. A little bit noisy, I have to say. The only thing that you need to detect for that potential short position, which, say that we're looking for the breakout of the highs here of the range. The only thing that you need to detect for that ABC is not the exact low of this choppy range, because if you are looking for that, 5-wave move impulse from this range, you're going to go absolutely mad. what you want to detect is the end of the 5-wave move to the upside to then go short. If you're looking for a 3-wave move, you want to go short once the 5-wave move up. You got high volume in the middle. It's on the chart, guys. You know, you cannot lie here about this. You know, when you're looking for the 5-wave move to the upside, you're looking for the 5th wave end stages, regardless if you get another 4 and 5, but you're looking for that reversal. The probabilities of reversing at this point here was insane. It was like, guys, you know, it's either one more high and go down, or we go down from here. So the point about this, guys, is I want to go straight to the point here, literally. It doesn't matter what combination is formed here. I know we like to speculate on locally here on the, you know, maybe a contracting diagonal to ABC flat. We SFP from the lows, and then we get that bounce, or we form some other kind of a WXY here. We break down, we slow down in this region, and we get supported in this zone. I mean, longs are looking interesting to take out the highs. I can tell you that, right? To speculate on the 3-wave move, a larger 3-wave here. However, the shorts are looking still relatively interesting, but unless you shorted this SFP right there, or the lower high that was mentioned yesterday, right, at value area high, you're positioned. You've taken some profits at the range lows here from yesterday. You know, you could be positioned here just in case the price, you know, ends up rolling over, right? What if this is the high? You form a 1-2, 1-2, boom, break down, right? High volume, and you know, just continue that downtrend to test the lows. It is possible, but it's all about positioning yourself, right? You either get the SFP or you impulse down, bounce at the value area high, you take the short, and now it's either 1-2, 1-2, break down in a 3, or you know, another 1-2 here, and then you break down. It's all about positioning yourself, right? Anyway, that was a bit off topic there. I'm interested in the longs, I have to say. I prefer the SFP from this level. New longs, that is, that we're talking about. Diagonal here, that's cool. If it breaks down, the best zone of support is this region. Shorts are looking okay. If we are, you know, it doesn't matter where the pump starts. If it starts from here, or you form a little bit more of a range here, and it starts from here, you know, you want to detect the last recent low and the impulsive move, right? The 5-wave structure, because at the end of the day, when you create that low, what you're looking for is the movement up, the wave 2, a little bit of a range, a flat, a running flat, or whatever, or WXY, but you've got to move up and you got to stop. Then you get the next move up, and then you get another stop. So here you have a 5-wave move, right? There's a 5-wave move right there. You want to detect that 5-wave move here somewhere in this region. And where you are interested in shorting is when you get into that 4-5, into levels of resistance. So, you know, naturally, when we were talking about the higher time frame potential here, you know, do we form a wave 4? Do we get that zigzag here in between today and tomorrow? Maybe we do form it. I do not know, but if we do, and we get this movement up to this huge resistance, as we develop a 5-wave move, it doesn't matter where the low is, nobody cares. You know, if it starts from here, then so be it. It starts from here. Right? This can get very, very complex. It might SFP, it might be the low here. It doesn't matter. It's a complex range that could, you know, extend a little bit more. If it starts from here, we have one wave up. We have a sideways range. We're looking for one more wave up to the upside here. Will this be extremely strong? You know, could this be a wave 3? I don't think so. You know, we didn't even hit the 382 Fibonacci on the retracement, which is rare. But an ABC zigzag, absolutely. You know, it's fine. That could happen without hitting the 382 Fibonacci. That is taking it from the low to the high. You can form a B wave that doesn't hit a 382. That is okay, especially if you form a triangle. I mean, triangle right now has literally been invalidated here. Or maybe it can extend. There's one scenario that we were looking at. Not that we are interested in longing the triangle. It's just the end result. But, however, the thing is, it would be a running triangle. Could this be... this would be taking a long time, if I'm honest here with you. Let me just get this drawing out of the way. Sorry about this. We build as we go, guys, here. We do freestyle because it's all in here. It's all in the head. Knowledge is in the head. So the running triangle here, you had the potential of this, and this, a higher low. Running triangle, there was a potential here of a running triangle. You needed a higher low. But if, you know, that maybe, and only maybe, it's not, you know, the interest here for a triangle is not that high to long a triangle because there's so many different combinations here that could happen. The end result is where you want to look for the short, right? Really, not speculating on a triangle. So could this be the C wave? We form a D wave. The problem here is going to be time. The problem here for this to be a triangle is going to be time, because if we do consider this your wave A or your wave 1 in an impulse, yeah, this is already going to be a little bit too long. So I would not speculate on a larger triangle here on the formation. You're gonna extend already 4 times longer, which is still okay. When you cross the 5 Fibonacci time is where you taking it to the limit here, which would be by tomorrow, Wednesday, 6 o'clock Central European time. Still could happen, but it would be a little bit lengthy. But yeah, you could still form a triangle here and then pop out. It's getting a little bit lengthy here, if I'm honest. Boom, boom, boom. 3 wave, 3 wave, 3 wave. You know, another 3 wave here, 3 wave down, and then it pops out. It doesn't really matter. But, you know, based on what we are interested in, based on the potential short, is once you get that break up, as explained, you know, the waves, you form an impulse, and then the correction could be whatever it wants. It could be a triangle, it could be a flat, it could be whatever. You know, many different corrections. Corrections are, you know, in this case, a zigzag is the most common, but you know, this could be a, you know, very, very complex correction. But what is interesting is zooming out on the higher time frame to say, okay, you know, that wave 4, what we're looking at here, you know, we're still downtrending. We still could form a wave 4 and a wave 5 here. And that's where it becomes interesting, detecting the ABC. And, you know, if you have that, this, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. But where it becomes interesting is coming into resistance. I'm not sure if we're going to form the triangle, but the whole point here is you have an impulse, you have whatever correction, and then you have another impulse to the upside. For an ABC zigzag, impulse, complex, choppy, noisy correction, and maybe another impulse to the upside here. And it's your best in your best interest. When we look at an impulse here, well, you do have one, right? We were talking about this on Friday, right? You do have a 5-wave move here to the upside. So we want to detect that 5-wave move to the upside. Where does it become interesting to short after a 5-wave move? Well, the 5th wave, naturally, right? It's all about detecting the 5th wave zone where you get that exhaustion. If it is at resistance, even better, right? So it's all about detecting here. Wherever the impulse happens, guys, it doesn't really matter. We don't need to know. It could happen here. It could happen tomorrow, right? It could happen. I don't know what's going to happen. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Nobody cares. It's all about detecting once it happens. you got a large move in the middle, like in this case right over here. It's beautiful because when we want to talk about an example, we got, Friday as an example, right? We don't need to go back to 2024. This happened in 2024. This is how the price moves, right? We go back, a few days ago to literally explain what you want to see. So if we are looking for a three-wave structure, it doesn't matter when this complex correction happens. If you want to speculate on this move up, it's very hard. I rather want to sweep the lows. I would rather want to see from lower, because this could morph into many different things. It could be something else. Triangle still looks acceptable, even though it would extend a little bit in time. If you're looking for one more lower high and one more higher low, I'm not interested in this case on the triangle. I'm only interested in sweeping up the lows for an SFB, if I'm honest. If you don't SFB, I look for lower. I look for this zone to hold as support, and then we'll go from there, right? But that's another scenario. The whole point here is we don't need to know, right? If we're going to form a three-way structure, when is the exact low going to be? It's, when it happens, we are looking for literally this, right? Most of the times, not always, the fifth, you will detect where that fifth wave can be, because after moving up with high volume, there will be one move down that is more powerful from any of the movements that you've had on the rally in your wave 3. There will be a moment that you can detect on the 15-minute time frame that there is a little bit more of a sharper pullback from the rally that's happened with high volume. Once that pullback has happened, is what the next move up is the one that you're looking to finish, literally, right? If you finish at a major level of resistance, in this case 675k, with the 50% Fibonacci, right, and all of this that we explained, the base channel, then look no further, right? That is the sweet spot. In that case, you're in validation. This would be a swing trade, short position, because on the higher time frame, we're literally speculating on that wave 4 potential. I mean, this is a move of $15,000 almost, right? This would be a big move, and the invalidation would be 78.8k. And the swing short is taking out the lows naturally, because you would be speculating on that wave 4. Is this going to happen? It could happen. I know how to detect it. Also, if you've been paying attention, right? We know how to detect it, and even detecting it on the 15-minute time frame, right? What we want to see. What is interesting, if this does end up forming a lower high and another higher low, then I would say, well, the triangle was formed. What is interesting about the target zones of a triangle, on after forming a triangle in a B wave, the targets are different when you take a look at the extension. Targets reach usually the 0.618 Fibonacci. If this forms a lower high in the next coming hours and then retraces and forms a higher low, and it ends up forming in a running triangle, a little bit extended at this point, but still, the C wave in an ABC after forming a triangle is not hitting the one-to-one extension. The common target is hitting between the 0.618 and the one-to-one extension. If we formed a higher low here, somewhere in this region, after this movement forming a triangle, the 0.618 extension is exactly at $75,000. So we've got Fibonacci extension, you got the 50%, you got the value area low. You just you're aligning all of the planets based on confluence and edit wave theory and what so not, and it's just a perfect level. Will we end up having that movement up there? That is the question. We don't know, but if it does, I'm very interested in detecting that end formation on the fifth wave, ABC, triangle here, or WXY. It doesn't really matter. But it's all about detecting that last move up here. I'm interested. Maybe you're interested as well based on the explanation that was given here. Smash up the like button, guys. We draw it, we give it, we have the knowledge. If you do like it, smash it up. Thank you very much for joining today's live stream. I think right now there's some internal levels as explained. SFP valid for a scalp. It's an intraday scalp. Move down to the order block here, high volume node, very much valid. However, we need exhaustion here and some bullish CVDs. I wouldn't be comfortable by longing straight away if the price is moving down aggressively, and need to see proof of support. There is some danger here naturally, because there is a 3-wave move to the upside there. I have to say, somebody said, Andy, don't be silly, we're going to form a wave 5 right now. But we give explanations on, it would be okay to actually move up to form a larger 3-wave move on the higher time frame. It would be okay, but there is the potential of this being an ABC already. It's not great, but we did pump up, we retraced, and we took out the high. 3-wave move. There is the possibility of a wave 1, wave 2, wave 1, wave 2, bang. We just absolutely nuke here in the next 1 to 2 days, right? In a wave 3. So if we don't SFP, we don't SFP. If we don't find support here at this region, volume increases. If we move down like this, 1, 2, 1, 2, it creates that big move down, but it slows down at the 65k region where we have that order block. We got a high volume node, and then here we start dancing around a little bit. Then I'm like, okay, this is getting supported. If we get lower lows on the CBD here from that pivot low, holy smokes, I'm going to look for a long. Well, naturally, right? I'm very much interested in longing this zone. If it does form a range formation after the big volume move, I'll just come to the conclusion that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. ABC flat would still be valid. Plenty of time for the C wave here if you do form an aggressive impulse. When we do take a look at timing from your wave A and your wave B, we've got till Friday. It's not that much time. Still got 3 days. Because your C wave of a flat, okay, just something that I want to point out here. When you combine your A wave and your B wave with Fibonacci time, you don't want your C wave to extend past the 2-to-1 time. You don't want the C wave to be double in time from your A and B wave combined. Okay, if that does extend, then we're looking at something else, very likely. Okay, it's low probability. So that would be on Friday. So we got till Friday here to maybe finish an aggressive impulse down, and then this is still be valid for a flat. Get supported here at 66 to 64k zone, or the diagonal, as explained it as well. The diagonal is something that could happen. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sweep up that low. It's a good SFP. It's a good SFP attempt. I can say that. We're interest levels SFP. Move down, slow down here at 66 to 64k range. Once you get the slowdown, it could be interesting for a long. That's a setup. And moving up here in a 5-wave structure, whenever that happens, the most attractive zone, I have to say, is the 65k region. Wouldn't be too interested in SFP from here at this point. I wouldn't be interested in anything really here unless you form a 5-wave move up just by taking out the highs here. Then shorts can be interesting. So that's a little bit of the game plan, guys. We haven't been going anywhere really since Friday. we're still in a $2,000-3,000 range. We did mention the possible short lower high here to claim the lows on yesterday's stream. We talked about the long on stream yesterday, and we talked about the short here. You know, if you're feeling good for that short point of control value area high, you do have a potential impulsive move here. It is a potential impulse. A lower high here at the golden pocket, you know, is valid for an entry. So maybe some of you did take that short based on the levels mentioned on yesterday's stream. Much love to everybody. Let's go through the comment section. Great stream. Simon Jones, much love, my man. We do spit out a bit of education. We do many scenarios. Ramsey, much love. Welcome. Devil Trading. Devil is doing the streams or video updates in the morning, guys. That is Central European time. Much love to Devil, guys. Go and check out his video updates. He is actually doing it on the channel here. Shout out to you, Devil. Much love. Also coach inside of the trading community with those epic updates and setups every single day, guys, Monday to Friday. Much love to you. Simon Jones, much love. Thanks for joining the stream, brother. Nico Sopi, freestyler. Yes, sir. Chop CBN Crypto by Mattia also joined here. What's up with Link? So we take a look at chain links. Let's go through comment section, guys, and see what's going on. I don't know what Link is doing. Bit boring, guys, here on Bitcoin. Need to remain patient. You know, there's no new trade here. We need to step out. Yesterday, the trade was either here, SFP, that didn't happen. We got to move up or take a short on a lower high here at the point of control to the value area high region. Maybe some people did short that zone, right? Where we are at the moment, you know, trades here, trades here, trades here. Maybe trades if the price action, you know, moves up in a 5 waver here, just barely takes out the highs. We got a point of control at 73.5k, so that could be an interesting level. Anyway, a bit of boring price action, guys. I'm sorry. What's happening to Chainlink? Somebody's saying here in the comment section. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Vamos, vamos, vamos. Chainlink, what's up with Chainlink? Man. Chainlink is... this Chainlink's at my average buying zone from 2022 and 2023. I think Chainlink is... depending on what Bitcoin does naturally, if we're looking for lower, holy smokes, we're at the beginning stages of the bear market. I'm actually worried about Chainlink. Naturally in the bear market, especially for altcoins, what happens to altcoins in bear markets, they bottom out and they trade in a range for a huge amount of months, many months, till they actually get a pop at some stage. That could take 2 years. So I'm really not expecting anything, guys. Altcoins are, a lot of the altcoins are dead and they're still rolling over. So this needs to find a base and a range. Once we get that base and range, we can start talking about altcoin season is coming, right? or buying opportunity. But yeah, this for the moment, I'm literally not interested. What's happening with Chainlink, I have no idea. It's bearish, it's just moving down. Much love to everybody. Can you look at ADA? Let's take a look at ADA. Why not? Shall we take a look at some altcoins? Oof. ADA at the bear market lows. It's insane. I've literally haven't been taking a look at altcoins, guys. I don't really care about altcoins. I'm mainly focused on Bitcoin, also silver, also S&P 500, right? We go with the big boys. Altcoins, I really couldn't care much really on altcoins legends. But holy smokes, this is literally at bear market lows. ADA, one of the top coins, right? One of the top blockchain projects. Supposedly, right? Interesting. Bear market lows. I mean, what can we say about ADA? It's at the bear market lows. Will it bottom out here? We are at early stages in the bear market, I have to say, with Bitcoin. So I do think that Bitcoin is likely going to go lower in the coming months. So I don't know how low the altcoins can go, guys. You know, it's all about what Bitcoin does. Unfortunately for altcoins, I'm sorry to say. But if Bitcoin, you know, drops down another 20% in the coming months, then I don't know how low these altcoins can go. Right? I'm just saying, guys, right? Bitcoin drops 20%. Do you think that this is going to get a bounce? Right? And Bitcoin is, you know, we're in a bear market. It is bearish. Maybe an internal bouncy on ADA, basically, because we just tapped into the bear market lows. Naturally, there is going to be some kind of buying pressure down here. We did get a swing failure pattern from the bear market lows. So naturally, you're going to get some kind of an instant reaction bounce based on buying pressure down here. There's going to be more buyers than sellers down here. That's for sure. This is why you usually react at a major low. It did get a nice bounce of 20%. Yeah, going through the lower time frames. Looking very wedgy. Looking, you know, ain't looking too bad. Bear market lows being tested on ADA. Nice little bounce. Nice little rangy, flaggy corrective structure. You know, flags are changing sides here. Flags are changing side. You can see in a very big downtrend, flags point up. This flag is pointing down. So, you know what? A higher low here is, you know, could happen. You could break, you know, you could break the trend line. A little bit of a bullish flag. That's a little interesting thing that you can put in your notebook. Flags downtrending point up. Flags in a possible uptrend start pointing down. Let's go right away through the comment section. Finally, something bullish on alts. You being bearish. Well, Alexa, it's going to take a long time, I can tell you that. If you think that we're going to get a bullish bounce on altcoins, I'm going to say good luck with that. So it's going to take time. Any Bybit news? Crazy lag. Yeah, got hacked? I wouldn't think so. I haven't seen something. Maybe something that's happened now. Stop looking at alts. They are literally dead right now. They will only make us cry at the moment, says Chichan. Very true. So basically, there was no altcoin season this time. Holding for nothing. Yeah. Don't we already have the 4 of the triangle with that sharp wick? And even 4 with the bounce? Well, I'm not sure what this is. Not sure what you're talking about here. Don't we already have the 4 of the triangle with that sharp wick? And even 4 with the bounce? Not sure. Not sure what you're talking about here on Bitcoin on the lower time frame, right? Yeah, these questions sometimes are difficult. Not sure what triangle you are talking about. And wave 4. Anyway. Right. Yeah, much love to everybody, okay? Here in the comment section. Much love to everybody. Thank you very much for joining. I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Not much on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's getting a little bounce at the moment. But what I am looking at for Bitcoin is this zone, SFP, or this zone right over here. Gonna keep it patient. It's very rangy. There's not much to say where we are locally. Are we getting a bounce here? Are we getting a pump? We're getting a pump. Shall we stick around for the pump? Yeah, an ending diagonal could be looking interesting for the long. Okay, there is some disturbing liquidity just beneath the lows of Saturday, so it would actually be nice before getting the rally. Remember that the rally starts right when not many people are ready for it. I like the sweep of the low. I like the ending diagonal. It's something that I would be looking for. This will be updated inside of the trading community, of course. We are waiting patiently for these movements, and we will be ready for the next trading setup, guys. If you are interested, make sure to send me a DM with the word access. Only a few steps to join in. 2 months for free, guys. Sign up with one of the affiliate links down below. Bluffin, Velto, you got a few options, and we'll get you in, okay, inside of the trading community. Minimum deposit required. That's for your own trading. And we are looking for those movements, right? Those trade setups. And I have a few plans ready also with Devilt. We'll be ready in the next coming days, if not hours, for the next trading setup. Legends, thank you very much for joining today, and I will see you tomorrow.